Me, M23, and my girlfriend, F23, had a rough night, and I'm not sure what it means. To be honest, I've been getting really worried about my girlfriend. We've been together a little under 3 years, and I love her. Last night, she had something of an episode? I'm not sure if this is the correct way to put this. It started with her being unable to sleep, and asking me to do things for her to help her fall asleep. I often read her IATA, BORU stories, but by this point it was long past midnight. She usually goes to bed around 10:30–11 o'clock for early classes, and I was too tired and had read to her for around a half hour. It then progressed to her kicking at the sheets, poking my sides to get a reaction, and asking progressively weird questions. I had told her I was too tired and wanted to sleep, which only put her off for about 2 minutes before asking, if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Pretty much most of the questions were this or something more in line with the "would you still love me if I was a worm" meme. This continued until about 1:15, when she asked me how I lost my virginity. For context, I was her first partner, and she was not mine. This question came from a deep place of insecurity, which is understandable, of course, but it was deeply uncomfortable. She followed up by asking increasingly specific questions about it. Where did it happen? Was I on top? How long did I last? Did I get her off too? I know it's natural to be curious about this, but every time I'd answer she'd say something about how she's going to be sick. If I didn't answer she'd start twiddling her feet, biting her nails, or something like that. The entire time my stomach was at my feet, and I felt like she was just bashing her head into a wall with the whole line of questioning. This morning, she hasn't said a word to me besides that she's going to her parents' house, which we were going to do for Easter regardless, that she doesn't want me to come with, and that she needs some space. I'm really at a loss on what to do here. It's been 4 years since the events in question, and I haven't spoken to that person in an equally long time. We were friends before our relationship, and she knew about this happening at the time. Is there any specific steps I can take to help her with her anxiety, sleeplessness, or otherwise open a line of dialogue? Also, I copy and pasted this because my first throwaway didn't have "throw RA" in it. It looks like it made some of the spacing weird? Sorry. Thanks. Too long did not read. My girlfriend had a rough night that involved a lot of anxiety-driven questions about my past, and now she won't talk to me. How do I open a line of dialogue to help understand what's going on? She's insecure over the fact that you've had sex with other people. She asked questions that she didn't want the answer to, and now she's paying the consequences. You did nothing wrong, and you shouldn't feel guilty for having partners before her. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can really do but give her space. She needs to process her feelings, and hopefully it won't matter to her. But she might want to be with somebody with around the same experience as her, which if that's the case you'd have to accept. You need to let her know that if she ever worries about anything, that she can tell you, and that you will help her. Communication is key to any relationship. It sounds almost like she had an episode of mania. She should probably discuss this with a doctor? You didn't actually do anything wrong, but I think in her time of racing thoughts she asked things she normally wouldn't have and isn't sure how to handle the answers she got. Give her some time. Talk to her about this and tell her you're concerned. Is this abnormal behavior for her? Does she have insomnia? Does she ever go long periods of time without sleep? There are 2 equally important points to be made. Your girlfriend can talk to you openly about her insecurities, and should feel safe to express her feelings, and behavior like you described is not acceptable. It's unkind and ineffective, hurtful and distancing. If she needs help learning to express herself in non-destructive ways, there are many sources of information readily available on that topic. It is reasonable to expect a partner to hear you out with compassion. It is not reasonable to expect to keep your partner awake with anxious questions about their private past in an attempt to satiate insecurity. My 29M wife, 26F, sleeps on the couch when she's upset. Hi. I've been married to my wife for 2 years now, and she's the only woman I've ever been in a committed relationship with. We have no children yet, but we're planning to, eventually. Generally, things are good, we have a great relationship and bomb sex life. But one thing which concerns me is that whenever we have any sort of argument, even if it's a fairly mild tiff, she either sleeps on the couch or asks me to sleep on the couch. This happens roughly once every month or 2. I have never agreed to sleep on the couch myself, and whenever she moves her pillow and blanket to the couch I let her know I'm not comfortable with it and think it's a really poor step for our marriage. To me it seems like separation light. A deliberate cutting off of romantic contact to put me on edge. A way to force me to apologize even if I'm not in the wrong, or at least be the first to apologize if we are both in the wrong. It would be different if I were sick or had a bad snoring issue or sleep apnea or something, but she has no issue sleeping next to me unless she's mad at me. My parents never did this, so to me, this seems really abnormal. I've only seen couples sleeping apart by choice in sitcoms featuring dysfunctional families, and it always seemed like a major sign of trouble in a marriage. We want to have kids eventually, but the thought of a child asking, "Why is mom not sleeping in the bedroom with dad?" is not something I would envision as a good environment to raise kids in. However, given that this is my only major romantic relationship I've been in my life, I have no experience other than my current one. How common is this, and how can I properly communicate to her that I won't accept this sort of behavior in our marriage? The last time this happened, I explained in direct terms how hurtful it was to me and how I wished she'd simply talk things out, or even just go to bed normally even if things are tense, rather than spending a night in separate rooms. She promised to never do it again, but last night she once again slept on the couch after we had a fairly mild argument. She actually slammed the door in my face when I tried to talk to her, and the door actually hit me in the head before I could get out of the way. She didn't apologize for this and hasn't talked to me all day. How common is it in relationships to sleep in a different room when upset with your partner? Too long did not read. My wife sleeps on the couch when she's mad even though I beg her not to, wondering what a good approach would be to convince her not to do this. Who the hell cares about sleeping on the couch right now? Address that later. Why are you arguing so much and to such a degree that this is happening? That's like worrying about a stubbed toe after getting shot. When I'm upset I can't be around the person. If I forced myself to stay in the same bed I'd be awake all night and feel even worse. I need space to regulate. That said, I've never hit someone with a door. Y'all sound really young. You keep asking what others do. It doesn't matter unless you are trying to show her a chart that 647 people disagree with her and you are right. Figure out what works for y'all. Don't base your marriage on what your parents did or didn't do. It sounds like she just needs space. Classifying it as separation light seems like an exaggeration. Also, you might want to reevaluate what you call a mild argument. Your wife is slamming doors and not speaking to you. Maybe part of the problem is you're making light of an issue that is really bothering her, or you're not really listening to her issues. She might be more upset than you think that she is. Maybe she needs time by herself. Keep talking to her about it until you understand what is going on. When my husband and I fight, I do the same thing. I shouldn't have to sleep in the same bed as someone I'm upset with. Sometimes, I need my space. You are making the problem worse when you guilt her for not wanting to sleep in your bed. A person is at their most vulnerable when they are sleeping. Who wants to put themselves in that position when they are angry? She's not doing it to force you to apologize. She's doing it because she needs some space. Respect that. My 26F boyfriend, 29M, didn't want to put my plate in the dishwasher. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 6 years, known each other for 10. I'm currently staying with him on vacation for 2 months. He lives overseas. We are long distance. I am the one to visit him always as he has severe social anxiety and cannot travel. He also can't work for the same reason. So it's easier for me to visit him. He lives with his parents, but they went up north to their cabin, so it's just been me and him for the last few days. He has been making us dinner since his parents left, and I clean and do the dishes. We didn't agree on this, it's just how it turned out. I came downstairs and noticed our dishes were in the sink from the previous night, along with all the pots and pans he used from cooking. I washed everything, tidied up and emptied the dishwasher. Tonight he cooked us some frozen pizza in the oven. We sat down and ate, and he helped me cut my pizza cause I was struggling with the knife, and took it from me and did it. I did not ask, but I found it sweet. We both finished eating and he got up and took his plate to the kitchen. I asked him if he could also take mine too, as he's headed that way, and he was planning on going upstairs after to play his game, and I was gonna be downstairs and watch the show I was watching. He said if he did that, he would only be pretending to be helpful. I asked him how so? He said if he took it to the kitchen and left it there, I would still have to go and put it in the dishwasher and it would make no sense. I said, well, you could have put it in the dishwasher along with yours. He said, yeah, I don't want to. I was a bit taken back, as I don't see how one plate and a fork would make a difference or be a big deal. I wash his plates too when I was mine. When I unpacked the dishwasher, I unpack everything, not just what I used. It ended starting a small argument between us, with which he ended by calling me a primadonna. Was I acting too snobby or entitled? Sure, I can get up and take my plate too, also not a big deal. I just don't see as he was leaving and putting his away would be a big deal for him if he also took mine and put it in the dishwasher. Any advice is appreciated, thank you. Why are you even with him? He doesn't work, he won't visit you? Where exactly do you see this going? What does he offer the relationship? He doesn't work, he doesn't come visit you. It seems there is no end in sight to long distance, and he won't do a literally 2-second favor, nice thing for you. What about him is amazing and incredible that is justifying you continuing this relationship? Sounds like a weirdo. Go home. You want advice? Move on. What's the end goal of this relationship? Do you see him growing up and asking you to marry him at some point? And if he did, is this the life you want? I'm certain you can do better than this. You certainly deserve it. My best friend, F30, is mad at me, F28. Because I slept with her step-brother, M23. I have been friends with M for over 15 years and she has been like family to me. Her brother A was like a little brother to me too, we basically grew up together. I moved to a different city from where I used to live early this year. My best friend's brother got a job in the city I am living in, so M called me and asked if he could live with me for a while before he got settled for his job. I wasn't very keen on the idea, but I accepted. I moved in and he has been great, he helps out and pays half of the bills. He started acting strange. He would get me gifts and always got feminine products when he was out. We fell into a routine and it was very comfortable. He is honestly a great guy and very protective of me. He asked me if he could live with me instead and we would split everything. I agreed because I honestly love living with him. My attraction for him started growing, and we developed a sort of tension that I have never felt with anyone. I would catch him staring, sometimes hugged me for too long, he would randomly pick me up, etc. I never go for anyone younger than me, but the chemistry was something I couldn't deny. One day on our movie night, we got a bit tipsy. He kept holding me and I let him, then he suddenly kissed me. One thing led to another and we had sex. After that day, it happened 3 more times in the week. I felt guilty because I don't like hiding stuff from M, so I decided to tell her everything and she flipped out on me and now she won't talk to me. She keeps saying I betrayed her and I feel terrible. She called A and asked him to move out. She told their parents but they did not care, so she started telling people in our friend group about how I betrayed her when she thought we were friends. A said he always had a crush on me and asked me out, but I am not sure about accepting because everything is a mess and I feel like I have lost M. Everyone except A's mother is giving me the cold shoulder. Should I ask A to move out and try to save my friendship? TLDR. I slept with my best friend's step-brother after he moved in with me and now she is mad at me because I betrayed her. How long between him moving in, and you two sleeping together? A month? 6 months? A year? I'm usually not on the whole age gap thing, but you literally watched him grow up, that's gross. I would be happy that 2 of the people I loved, my best friend and my brother, found love and happiness with each other. I would hope that the relationship would grow and bring never-ending joy to all. Your friend will get over it, pursue the relationship. Sounds like you're both happy. If she can't be happy for the both of you, she can kick rocks. Been friends for over 15 years. Her brother was like a little brother to me too, we basically grew up together. Then he suddenly kissed me, one thing led to another and we had sex. Yeah, I can kinda see why she's upset. The way she sees it, her sister just fucked her brother.